Good day everyone. So we all know what matters. Damage is the only thing that matters in this game. So let's quickly compare how a level 90 Ganyu with a pretty alright set of artifacts and max talents and a sort of skyward hop compares to a Kokomi, which has got a pretty meh kind of build, pretty trash weapon, and which, let's just assume the talents are the same. Let's assume they're 10 10 10, so they're on equal footing. Who cares? And what we can see right here in this comparison, 215.8.80, you can see here, see right there, we're going to hit the frame exactly when Ganyu starts up a shot, the wind up time, and then she gets full bloom, and the moment she gets full bloom we're going to hit, and there we go, we've got everything right there. And now let's do the same with Kokomi. This should be at about 40, and here we go. Since damage is the only thing that matters, let's see what Kokomi can do. I don't know, I'm not seeing big numbers, I'm not seeing anything over 20k, so this is pretty trash, right? Or is it? So let's see. Ganyu in 2.7 seconds did 33k damage, but let's assume it's a crit and it's 70k damage. Kokomi did in 1.5 seconds 42k damage. Here you can see the small numbers adding up. And of course in a 2.7 second window this jumps to 64k, and if we then just extend it slightly to 3k to get these last two hits in a hit combo, this will add up to 85k. So what are we seeing here on screen, and what does all this mean? Does this mean Kokomi is better than Ganyu? Does this mean everyone was wrong? No. What all this means is that you can fudge the numbers in all sorts of different ways to get all sorts of different and incorrect conclusions, and that is how I want to start off this Kokomi review, because I think everyone misunderstands the character. Right, so let's formally start our Kokomi review, and I think a change of scenery is definitely appropriate here at the Sangonomiya Shrine. As you can see, Kokomi is, from a design and aesthetics perspective, really pretty. They've really done her really well. You can see there's quite a bit of effort that's been put in. I like the design, the different color schemes, and also she's got a very endearing personality with the little fish, and if you go into her voiceovers, she is quite a cute character. I think she's definitely in my top 3 list for waifus, in air quotes, if you want to call it that. So I really like the character. Now let's talk about her role, and this is what everyone misunderstands. So if you watched her character demo video, it was really, it gave you a very refreshing vibe from the Raiden Shogun, which was all flashy, and then you've got something that's much more, you can see, like almost touching and sincere. And if you then go into the voiceover where the character, I think it's Dainsleaf, his voice actor then sort of takes you through Kokomi's abilities, her passive talents, and sort of generally what the gist is of this character. Then you would sort of see that my first impressions was well, you can tell me in the comments, but my first impressions wasn't that this character is going to replace Ganyu, or that she's going to replace Mona, or that she's going to do an insane number of damage. From watching the trailer, as was advertised prior to releasing the character, it was pretty clear that this character is a support, and she is a healing support. So there's the idea that she must do an insane amount of damage really I can't understand why people get that wrong, because if you want to do damage, there you go, Ayaka, Raiden Shogun, there you go, plenty of damage between the two of them. Comfortably you can clear the Abyss solo with Raiden Shogun, the first halves in any case, and the second halves all with Ayaka. So that's typically what a main and sub DPS should do. They should do damage. But what does Kokomi do? Kokomi is a team stabilizer, and she's a generalist support. And I think this is where a lot of the confusion comes in with Kokomi. So what do I mean by generalist support? So a lot of people will go into the Spiral Abyss, especially floor 11, and then they'll be like, okay, let's just put a level 60 Barbara in, and oh yeah, she does, I press Q, poof, instant heal everyone, why do I need Kokomi? Or people would go and they'll be like, where's Xingshu? Where's my Xingshu? He's somewhere right here. Oh yeah, here he is. A lot of people go, Xingshu, Hydro Applicator, why do I need Kokomi's Jellyfish? Easily applies Hydro. You don't need any other character. Or people will go and be like, where's Bennett? Oh yeah, my Bennett is awesome. For 7k ticks, my Bennett can easily out heal what Kokomi can do. Easy. And like, why do I even need Kokomi to heal the team? Trash healer. And that is sort of the vibe that you get on the internet. A lot of people are questioning where does this character fit in, and they don't understand that this character is pretty much like the Raiden Shogun. The Raiden Shogun is a generalist burst support character. And in the beginning, a lot of people were like, but why would you use Raiden in this team and that team? And Raiden with Kazuha and Bennett, just don't do it. And she only works with Beidou. It's all about Beidou. And why don't they work together? And people really misunderstood this character. And now people are waking up to see, well, she's actually balanced. And she surprisingly fits into a lot of team comps. The Raiden national team, with Eula, you can fit it with Ayaka, you can fit the Raiden Shogun in with a lot of teams. And I've done this on this whale account and on a free-to-play alternative account. She really is quite flexible as a generalist burst support, and the same with Kokomi. Kokomi is a generalist sort of like almost tanky support that you get. And what does Kokomi provide? Well, in essence, she doesn't provide you this stupid gameplay of press Q, everyone's healed, there we go, I'm a god, you know. It's not that. It's you really have to think about how you use the character. But what you realize is that all the encompassing roles of Barbara, of Shingshu, of Bennett, all these things are captured. They're like separate elements that are captured by Kokomi. And so what I mean by these separate elements is that, look at Barbara. I mean, Barbara can't deal damage while healing and tanking at the same time, while Kokomi can actually do all three at the same time. Barbara gets you instant frozen most of the time, and Kokomi really applies Hydro to herself for a split moment when she uses her E, which is very good for cleansing, especially in the current abyss where they're going to throw you with pyro, with electro, with all sorts of ailments. Being able to quickly cleanse is really good. Take a look at Bennett. Bennett is pyro, and he can't apply pyro consistently, which means he can't enable his element related reactions like Kokomi does. He also applies pyro to your team if you've got him at C6, and it really is quite irritating because especially against electro enemies, you just keep getting overload and everyone just like sort of flies away out of your AoE, which is quite annoying. If you look at Shingshu, he applies Hydro consistently, but it's single target and it's not a wide AoE like Kokomi. There's a reason like why you can't use Shingshu and substitute him in with Child in a Xiongling reverse comp, while Kokomi can actually do this. So what you see is Kokomi is definitely this jack of all trades sort of character. She's great for just pressing for this Hydra applicator, and especially in the first and the Abyss floor 12, first floor second half against that big lava chill. I don't need to first swipe with Ayaka to trigger Shingshu's rain swords and then press Q. Before the boss can even spawn in, all I'll do is like while the little specters pop off, we put off a jellyfish, and as the boss spawns in, we hit Ayaka's Q and the guy is permafrozen before he can even get an animation off. Pretty cool. This is what this character is about. She's a very strong generalist. So now let me just show you where she really works well and where she tends to underperform. Right guys, so as you can see here in the Spiral Abyss, we're just going to group up a couple of enemies, and now you can see her jellyfish. Look at that wide AoE that she's applying, and of course with the electro charge it's doing a lot of damage. But look at this, look at all the damage numbers you guys are seeing here on the screen. Definitely this is the power of AoE, and you'll see now here comes Kuchusara, and now she can electrocute everyone, and surprise surprise, Kokomi's got her ult back up once again, and now we can do more damage. I must admit this is because of her C4, but this short clip really shows and demonstrates to you why this character works for large mobs in a wide AoE, especially if you want to do it like a freeze comp. She's really good. This really outperforms Shingshu on all levels in terms of the generalist sort of approach that she can do. She's not that good if you just put her, let's say, solo against Magu Kenki, which I did try with Sangomiya and Kuchosara, but the problem is both of these, they deal enough damage, but they don't deal enough damage in enough time to warrant being able to like use them for a like big heavy single target focus. and that's okay because that's exactly what we'd expect. She is, after all, a support character. So we don't want her to do the big damage. If we want big damage, we just go to Raiden Shogun or Ayaka, because that's why we pulled for them. But if we want someone to heal us, then this is the character that we want. If we want someone to face tank the enemy, to stabilize the team, or to give us like consistent Hydra application, this is the character. She's got an incredible versatility to her play style. And I think because it's not straightforward, it's not like Bennett, you just press Q, Barbara, press Q, instant heal, Jean, Q, instant heal. Because you've got to actually think of where do you want to position, how are you going to get the enemies grouped up, and you've actually got to think a bit about what you're doing with this character to get the most out of her. I think that's why a lot of people just don't understand the character well at all. Right, so let's talk about a few things about Kokomi's kit. Generally speaking, I'm pretty happy with the jellyfish's performance and her ultimate ability. It's got a very low multiplier on the skill damage. You can see here, it's obviously not meant to do big burst damage, but it's meant to do consistent damage over time. I think everyone knows all about these sorts of talents. Swimming one's quite nice. And then this one, flawless strategy, where a lot of people say, well, the 100% decrease in critical rate is like a death sentence to Kokomi. And I don't think it is. Because think about it, if this character could actually crit with the exact same build that she's got on right now, let's say she could do what Ganyu does. Let's say even if you only had like 50 crit damage and we changed our artifacts like a bit and we put in, I don't know, a 50 crit rate, she would out damage Ganyu so easily. Even a C6R5 Ganyu would not be able to keep up with her if she could crit. So I think a lot of people do not understand how broken this character would have been if she had the capacity to crit. And if you don't believe me, you can just look at the stats that I sort of showed in the beginning. It's quite apparent that this character is not supposed to get multiplicative bonuses, because then she's really approaching like Ayaka and Ganyu C6R5 levels of power, and I think that would be too game breaking to have a character that can heal herself. Like she needs no shield. She's got a large HP pool, and she does damage that outpaces almost everyone. I think the character would have been quite broken. So I'm quite happy with this restriction. It's quite cool, and it's also quite refreshing that we get to play with HP percentage more. It does put in, I think what MiHoYo is doing is they're giving us a bit more value for our HP artifacts, like you can put it on with Zhongli, which I've just borrowed some of his artifacts for Kokomi. But he benefits of HP, she benefits of HP, and I really think that's quite nice, getting, you know, not just everything's not just about crit rate, crit damage. So I really do appreciate that aspect of her design. Overall, I think this character is definitely, in my opinion, a 5 out of 5 because she's a generalist character, and I think in future, especially if we get enemies that like apply corrosion, or we get something cool, or like different mechanics, like I hope like for something in the Abyss where you've got like even landscapes, this character is going to be like really cool. I really like her. Everyone says she's the worst unit in the game. I think people are sleeping on her generalist abilities and the sort of technical ability, the technical aspects of her. She's quite rewarding to play, and I just want to sort of say, if you are going for Kokomi, go for C1. This extra 30% of her damage as Hydra, that is, if you looked at my earlier calculations, and that is the 13k that you can see here. And so in a 3-second window, that is pretty much a significant chunk of the damage. That's about 25%. Well, it depends on where your heals are. This is just the jellyfish, but if you just take this portion and you take this portion, that's anything from 25 to 33% extra damage in C1. Really good. If you want to use her more as a healer, C2 is great because now she pretty much outstrips Bennett very easily. And this one I really like C4 quite a lot. Increases her normal attack speed by 10%, pretty pog, and it restores energy. So this really solves, I found that C4 really solves her energy regeneration problem. Although, because we've got Raiden Shogun, another generalist, if you add the two, they are pretty good. And the last one here is pretty nice because you don't need to build Hydro bonus, but I like building Hydro bonus, but this just gives you more attack power. Overall, her constellations, you can see, is all about, I think especially this last one sort of captures her role very nicely. You quickly heal up the party while you're attacking, and once they're really, like once the majority of them are healed, or at least one of them is healed, Kokomi starts hitting hard. And that is exactly what you saw in the sort of demo that I gave right in the beginning. Overall, very rounds out the character very evenly. I've said this before with Ayaka's constellations. Her constellations round her out very evenly. These ones are very good. The Raiden Shogun's a bit interesting because she gets all her damage and then gets all her support, and no one pays attention to the support, but this one in particular makes her broken. But yeah, I think very good character, very solid character, a 5 out of 5 for me. I think a lot of people are sleeping on this character because they're too focused on like on single units that can substitute the role for her. So everyone would be like, why do you need to use this character if you've got a Barbara or someone else that you can slot in? But think about it this way. If you've got a generalist character, you only need to build her and she'll be more than functional enough to take on the roles of many of these other characters without needing to spend resources to build these other characters. This is the great thing about generalist characters. I consider Ayaka to be the best generalist cryo character as well. She might not be damage-wise the best in relation to Ganyu or like Eula, but as a generalist character, burst, quick swap, all the usual stuff, technical mechanics, high skill ceiling, she's awesome. Raiden Shogun, great generalist. And when you pair all these characters together in the Spiral Abyss, they are amazing. And that's what I'm going to end off with. I'll keep quiet now and just show you a Spiral Abyss run with these 3 characters and how to play them at max potential.
稲光すなわち永遠なり。よっ
ご安心を。
無我の境地。よっ
私に従いの私の願いだわ。そうだ。
ここより弱滅の時。よっひょっ見切りました。
深海のカゴ。はっはっせいはっやっはっ。
ここより弱滅の時。さっさっ神里流消滅。
ご助力を。深海のカゴ。へいせいはっほっ。
無我の境地。見切りました。さっさっせっさっ失礼。桜吹雪。裁きの雷。
ソーランの憩い。
雪を舞え。稲光すなわち永遠なり。はっはっはっ逃げ道はありません。そこ
あれ狂いなさい。せいご安心を。はっ
失礼。無我の境地。さっ